So lesson 4-9 and 4-10 go together because they're both about finding patterns in a situation and then connecting those patterns to graphs, tables, and equations. So for this video, I'm just going to give you some examples because the easiest way to understand it is to watch some examples. So the first one says Erica's book club reads 4 books every month. So the first thing I have to figure out is what are my variables? What are the things that change? So the number of books they read, that's going to change. And the number of months that they're in the club will change every month. So I'm going to use B for books and M for months. And since months go by all on their own without any help, that's my independent variable. And the number of books they read depends on how many months they're in the book club, so that's my dependent variable. So when I make my table, my independent variable always comes first. So months will go in this column and the books will go in this column. So in 0 months, they're going to read 0 books because if they're not in the book club for any months, they can't read any books. So then after 1 month, though, it says they read 4 books every month. So in 1 month, they'll read 4 books. Then if they're in the club for 2 months, they'll read another 4 books. So that'll be 8 books. And if they're in the book club for 3 months, that's another 4 books. So that'll be 12 books. So each month they add on another 4 books. So if I put that in a graph, I will always put my independent variable on the bottom. So M is going to go down here. That's the number of months. And then on this side is where I'm going to put the books. So books. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and label my graph 0, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4, and then here, all right. So I'm going to count by 2s over here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just so I don't have to squish all the numbers together. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So in 0 months, they read 0 books. In 1 month, they'll read 4 books. 2 months, they'll read 8 books. 3 months, they'll read 12 books. So my graph keeps going up like this. Okay. And this point should be here, but drawing on a computer is a little harder. So now I've got my table, I've got my graph, and now I need my equation. Well, my equation is going to tell me how do I get from the number of months to the number of books. Well, here I multiplied 1 times 4. Here I did 2 times 4 because it's 4 books every month. 3 times 4. So every means I'm multiplying 4 times every month. So I'm multiplying 4 times M. 4 times the number of months will give me the number of books they read. So my equation is the number of books equals 4 times the number of months that they're in the book club. So that is my equation. So let's try another example. So Ryan's soccer team starts with 7 players. So they started with 7 players. And then there's a new player that joins every week. All right, so the things that change, my variables are going to be the number of players. So I'll make that P. And the number of weeks after they have the 7 players at the beginning. So the number of weeks will be W. And just like hours and months and years, weeks go by all on their own. So that's my independent variable because the number of players depends on how many weeks they have the team because every week they get a new player. So weeks is my independent variable, players is dependent. So if I wanted to draw my table, My independent variable comes first, so that's W for weeks. And then my dependent variable, the number of players, is in this column. So 0 weeks after they start, before they even started, they already started with 7 players. So before they keep adding players, they already had 7 players. So in 0 weeks, they had 7 players. But then every week after that, they add 1. So in 1 week, they have 8 players. In 2 weeks, they have 9 players. 3 weeks, they have 10 players. And so if I drew my graph at 0, instead of starting at 0, they're going to start here at 7. And then in 1 more week, it'll be 8, and then 9, and then 10. So if I label this will be 1, 2, 3, and then here would be 0, and then be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you can see the graph. Now, again, in order to write my equation, I have to figure out how did I get from W to P? Well, here I added 7 plus 7 plus 7. 1 plus 7 is 8. 2 plus 7 is 9. 3 plus 7 is 10. And we're adding 7 because they started with 7 at the beginning, and then they get 1 each time. So my equation would be W, the number of weeks, plus the 7 players they already started with. So 1 player each week plus the 7 players they already started with would give me the total number of players. So that's my equation there. All right, one more example. Mark runs 5 miles per hour. So I've got miles and I have hours. So miles, I'm going to make M. Hours can be H. Hours go by all on their own, so that's independent. And miles, the number of miles he runs depends on how many hours he's run for. So hours is independent, miles is dependent. So I'm going to make my table again. Independent is always first. So hours, H goes here, M goes here. So if he runs 5 miles per hour, if he doesn't run any hours, he's not going to run any miles. So it's 0 and 0. But in 1 hour, he'll run 5 miles. In 2 hours, he'll run another 5 miles. So that'll be 10. And in 3 hours, he'll run another 5 miles. So that'll be 15. And if I graph it, I can do 0, 1, 2, 3. And here I can do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, keep on going, 14, and 16. All right, so in 0 hours, he runs 0 miles. In 1 hour, he runs 5 miles. In 2 hours, he runs 10 miles. And in 3 hours, he's all the way up here at 15 miles. So it's not very straight because I am trying on the computer. Sorry about that. There we go. But there's my graph. And then I can see again, how am I getting from hours to miles? I did 1 times 5. Here I did 2 times 5. Here I did 3 times 5. So I'm taking hours times 5. So hours times 5, or a better way to write that is 5H. So 5 miles for every hour. So I multiply 5 times the number of hours, and that would give me the number of miles he runs. So my equation would be M equals 5H. So you can see how figuring out your variables, finding the pattern, using it for a table and a graph can help you to get your equation.